Today we've got a hypothetical matchup between Doug Jones for the Democrats and Susan Collins for the Republicans. This was suggested to me a while back in the comments. I wasn't going to do it because it's one where you could pretty much just make up anything, but I decided to do it. I thought about each state. I'm not going to go way into depth on this, but there's really two ways to think about it. But first of all, real quick, Doug Jones, former U.S. Senator from Alabama. He was in there a few years. He's considered very conservative, very moderate. Susan Collins, U.S. Senator from Maine. She's been in there a long time. She's considered more moderate, or some might say the liberal side. So the two paths you could take are either the Trump base and many national Republicans, they're going to stay home because Collins is not at all what they're looking for. She's not overly charismatic, even though she's got all the experience. She'll do a little bit better in the suburbs, but overall, it's going to be a net loss with Collins on the ballot. The other path you could take is Doug Jones. He's just way too conservative. Progressives, they're never coming out for him. The Democratic base, they're not going to come out either, so Collins would sweep these states. Those are the two general paths you could take. I more so took the first path, but in each state, I do generally see a narrowing of the margin. Jones is going to lose turnout from his base. Collins is as well, and a lot of people probably don't even know who Doug Jones is, so to be fair, I'm assuming he runs a serious national campaign. I don't know where they stand on every issue. I think this would be a low turnout election. A lot of voters not going to be excited for these two, but independents, suburban voters, they're probably going to tip it one way or the other, so somebody's going to have to win this thing. Let's get into it. We'll go through these states. We'll talk a little bit more about it at the end. First state, Alaska. That's going to be over 10, safe for Collins. Hawaii, safe for Jones. Back up to the West Coast, Washington, safe for Jones. Oregon, I'm going to say that'll get down to just under 10, likely for Jones. California, safe for Jones. Nevada, that's going to be close. Collins' support is going to drop off in the red rural counties, and Jones is going to get enough support in Clark to win it by a tilt margin. Idaho and Utah, safe for Collins. Arizona, that's going to go back toward the Republicans. Collins will win it by a low single-digit lean margin. Montana, that's going to get down under 10, high single digits, likely for Collins. Wyoming, safe for Collins. Colorado's also going to get under 10, likely for Jones. New Mexico, mid-single digits, likely for Jones. North and South Dakota, safe for Collins. Nebraska at large, safe for Collins. The 2nd District, Collins is a decent fit here. The district got a little bit redder after redistricting. I think it'd be close, but I have Collins winning it by a tilt margin. Kansas, safe for Collins. Oklahoma, safe for Collins. Texas, that's going to get down under 5, probably at least 3 or 4, leans for Collins. Up to Minnesota, that's also going to get down under 5. It's going to be likely for Jones. Iowa, that's going to get closer as well, and it's going to be leans for Collins. Missouri, I've got that under 10, high single digits, likely for Collins. Arkansas, Louisiana, safe for Collins. Let's go up to Wisconsin. Like with a lot of these states, the blue vote in the big cities, in Dane, in Milwaukee counties, it's going to go down for Jones. At the same time, those red Trump counties, Collins is not going to get that turnout. Suburban voters, they're going to decide it, and it really could go either way, but I went with a tilt for Jones. Illinois, close to 10, but still safe for Jones. Up to Michigan, another Rust Belt state. I don't see Collins really doing well enough here. She's definitely not polarizing like Trump. I think more blue-collar working class voters and the union support, they're either going to stay home if they're looking for somebody like Trump, or they're going to come out and support Jones, so he's going to win it by a lean margin. Indiana, high single digits, likely for Collins. Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, safe for Collins. How about Doug Jones' home state of Alabama? It's a super red state on a national level. He nearly won when he won for U.S. Senate. The margin would definitely be reduced, but I still see it going safe for Collins. Down to Florida, that's going to be leans for Collins. How about Georgia? They prefer establishment, more moderate Republicans. That is Susan Collins. Doug Jones, going to make it competitive, but it's going to go tilt for Collins. South Carolina, that's going to get under 10, high single digits, likely for Collins. North Carolina, that's going to narrowly flip and go blue, tilt for Jones. Let's take a look at Ohio. That's going to get closer, under 5, leans for Collins. West Virginia, super red state, still over 10, safe for Collins. Let's go to the corner. Susan Collins' home state of Maine. This one took some thought. On a federal level, it's much bluer. Collins going to make it much closer. I went back and forth. Going up against Jones, at large, I actually settled on a tilt for Collins. The 1st District, just barely under 10, likely for Jones. The 2nd District, it's going to be a little bit over 10 points, maybe 11 or 12, and it's going to be safe for Collins. Next door, New Hampshire. Collins, from neighboring Maine, not a bad fit for the state. I see her winning it by at least 1 point, so it's going to be leans for Collins. Now we've got the blue states. We've got Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. The margins are going to be reduced. Some of them do get close to a likely margin, but out of precaution, I kept them at safe for Jones. Now we've got Pennsylvania. It's going to be a similar story, more the Trump-style base vote, not looking to come out for Collins. Jones is not going to be exciting at all, but he's going to end up winning this by 1 or 2 points, so it's going to be leans for Jones. And the last state is Virginia. This one will get narrower. It's also going to get under 5, but it's going to stay blue. Leans for Jones. Final total, 285 for Doug Jones, 253 for Susan Collins. It's close, but Doug Jones wins it. A lot of these margins are narrower. Jones does do better than most Democrats would in the South, but he's still a Democrat. He's not going to be able to make enough inroads in those solid red states. And Collins, she does better in the blue states like Oregon, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, but it's only going to be good enough for a few points, not enough to make them actually competitive. Collins, I think, is more damaging on the ticket than Jones would be, and I get it. You might have the exact opposite result. You might look at other matchups with similar Republicans like Larry Hogan, maybe Phil Scott, against a conservative Democrat like Joe Manchin, and the result might be different, but it's tough to have a confident map. I could try to consider the different demographics, the different turnouts. I try to apply it consistently, but this is the kind of thing that could change week to week, certainly month to month. It depends on the running mates. It depends on the national issues. It depends how they run their campaigns. Jones is going to have to deal with not being too cozy with Biden, but also not alienating those voters too much. Collins is going to have to try to not alienate Trump voters, but she's going to have to keep answering questions about Trump. I don't know if she'd be able to handle that well enough. So again, the big thing here, independents, suburban voters, whoever would be in the center, I think they're going to be kind of split, but in most states, them being split is going to give it to Doug Jones because the Trump-based turnout is going to be a little bit more reduced than the Jones turnout from the Democratic base. I think Doug Jones has a much lower profile than other Democrats, that even though he's considered very conservative, the fact that his name ID is so low, I don't think there's as many Democrats that hate him like they do Joe Manchin. I'm sure a lot of them would find out quickly, but Jones would have some time to craft his campaign, try to find a lane in the middle, and appeal to just enough voters to get the victory. So this is what I came up with at this point in time. It easily could change if I did it over, but you got to pick something. Your map is going to look different. This is what I settled on. So let me know in the comments, how do you see this matchup going? Is Doug Jones too conservative, too low profile that there's no chance he would win? Or does Susan Collins alienate too much of the base to have a chance? Which states would you change? Let me know down below. On your way out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.